Get ready. Checkpoint. Congratulations.
Welcome, stars. It's Budsday today. On Sun versus the Moon. What up?
I'm Cassette Blue.
Hey, bud.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm doing okay. What about yourself?
Yeah, I'm all right. In full disclosure to our friends, as we normally do, it is 10:46 p.m. We're starting pretty late on the recording. I'm tired.
School night.
We're tired. We spent the day hanging.
Mm-hmm.
We did the outline. We planned the sesh. But, we have it's just great hanging out. So we end up hanging out, have this, the good talks.
Hunted and Angie.
Hunted and Anjanath in the middle of it. Yeah.
Yep.
So, it's just a full day. And then we get distracted. And then we get, it leads to one thing after another. Fun times, emotional times, hangouts, Budsdays. You know how it goes. It's good times. This guy's a legend. I love hanging out with him. So super fun.
Ditto, bud.
Yeah. So anyway, we're started. We're hit record. We're finally going. Here we go.
Talk about it.
I got to start off with a correction. Okay, so this entire time, I had been incorrectly attributing a certain quote to a certain individual. The quote, who would want to play old video games from the Sony side? I attributed that mistakenly to Herman Holst, who is the head of PlayStation. That was actually Jim Ryan, who is the head of Sony. So he recently put out a tweet rolling back their decision to pull the PlayStation Store content from being purchasable after there was a massive uproar. Cassette, do you happen to have that quote that he had specifically? You had found it at one point. Maybe we could bring that back up.
When we've dabbled with backward compatibility, I can say it is one of those features that is much requested, but not actually used much, says Ryan. That, and I was at a Gran Turismo event recently where they had PS1, PS2, PS3, and PS4 games, and the PS1 and the PS2 games, they looked ancient. Like, why would anybody play this? Where do we start?
So it's obviously a super bad take. And it's like, how do you not understand nostalgia or just how it's fun, bro? Like, it's fun. That's why somebody would want to do it, because it's fun. Those games are still fun. And it's crazy to me that they would have that mindset, right? So anyway, I've had this kind of fear about the direction of Sony recently because of how corporate they are. Microsoft's making the good moves on consumer friendliness and whatnot. I really like what they're doing. They're buying good studios. Maybe they'll finally get some good IP. The true fact of the matter is, I'm a huge Sony IP fanboy. I love Sony IP. I love Microsoft IP if it's good too, but right? I mean, I don't really care. Good games. But Sony just happens to have really good IP. And they seem to be going in the direction where they're just kind of going all in on big AAA titles. And that's leading from the top down. So it's coming from Jim Ryan. They brought in Herman Holst from Guerrilla Games. They did the Horizon and Killzone Decima engine. That's what Death Stranding runs on. Unfortunately, shout out once again, the legend Shuhei Yoshida got transition of power to his current role, looking over indie games for PlayStation. We don't know the internal politics there ever, but it's a bummer because, him and Sean Layden. Layden came in later, but Shuhei was there from like 2008. Man, he's the reason why all those PS4, PS3 IP you really like from Japan Studio and whatnot, they exist because that man was at the helm saying yes, green light. Awesome. He's no longer in charge, but he's still there. Hopefully he can, still maintain, but it seems to be they're shifting away. I don't know. They got rid of the Japan studio side. It's very weird, you know. It's like it's a culture shift happening over there, and it's weird to watch for someone if you love the Japanese IP side of Sony and whatnot. It's very sad actually. So hopefully we'll see some change. This is an interesting turn of events. This shows that bullying corporations works. So keep at it. Well done.
Yes.
Hell yeah. This is great.
You.
Yeah. It's crazy to me, but I'm curious with their money, how much they made in the time where people thought where they were going to close the store down, you know?
Could have been a little bit of a windfall there. Yes.
Definitely. I mean, it made the business decision to keep it going. That's all that was required, right? Anyway.
I want to know where he's getting his metric from about an oft requested feature that backward compatibility is, but not oft used. Okay,
crazy to me.
Sure, whatever. Show me the data for that, and maybe I can come to my own decision.
I would agree that probably more often than not, you will have, yes, the native game for that console being played on that console. But man, just for accessibility reasons,
yes,
my PS2 probably still works. I haven't booted it in a while. My GameCube was gonna die eventually. You know, these things, I literally do not have any more Xbox 360s. They all died. I had multiple. I used to repair them and resell them, and it's just got so much of a hassle to maintain that I gave up. My PS3 still works thankfully, but you know, all these things are on a timer, and I would love to have that content on newer generation hardware. It's crazy that, okay, if you're going to discontinue the store, let's roll it over, give it all on the PS5. You know, there's no reason why we can't access this stuff on the PS5. Okay, up next in Microsoft news, in kind of like a no-brainer, like why wasn't this already a thing? But okay, I guess now free-to-play games are free-to-play on Xbox. You no longer require PlayStation Network subscription. It's no longer called PlayStation Live, but PlayStation Network subscription. You
wait, why are you saying PlayStation Network?
Xbox Network subscription. Thank you very much, buddy. Anyway, it's free to play on Xbox now if you got an Xbox. We don't really need to touch. We're kind of coming at you with we're going to have a couple rapid fire topics we just kind of want to touch on, and then we're going to deep dive into some other things. Cassette, do you want to take the next one about Sony here?
So anyone who has gone to the PlayStation Store has probably on their PlayStation console, you're able to actually purchase TV show episodes and movies, which is actually going to be dropped now from the PlayStation Store. But apparently last week in the Polish market, they decided to demo a feature called PlayStation Plus Video Pass, where if you have a PS Plus subscription, you can actually get free TV episodes and select movies from Sony Pictures specifically. So that's kind of interesting that they're bringing that back, and only in the PlayStation Plus functionality. Okay, cool.
We'll see when it happens.
And
we'll
also
see if it
becomes a full feature or full-fledged feature of the consoles.
Also in okay news, Mario Party has multiplayer now. 2 years ago, this game came out.
I didn't realize it was already a 2.5-year-old game.
Yeah, guy. And
no multiplayer or online multiplayer until then.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Great. Awesome.
Thanks, Nintendo.
And another back to Sony news. Cassette.
So Sony has filed a patent for, as the title says, it's an AI bot that will more or less play your game for you. Now, this isn't specifically supposed to be something that's like every title that you purchase, once this feature is available, you can just have it play the title for you. But it's supposed to use a AI-like system to basically map out your gameplay behavior for specific titles. And it can come in if it detects that you are having a difficult time on a certain part of a game, and it can take over for you to try to successfully play through that section, but in the manner of style that you play. Could also be used for multiplayer if you have to step up and go to the bathroom or anything like that, is one of the examples in the article.
Playing Souls.
I know that I know that
Doorbell
a lot of people
rings.
What was that?
Playing Souls, doorbell rings. Yeah.
Yeah. You can't pause Souls. I know that a lot of people will probably think like, oh, has some concerns for cheating, and a lot of other people might just not see any use for it. But hopefully, my hope is that this is something that can be useful in terms of accessibility for games. Yeah, honestly, again, it's a patent.
Yeah,
It's not going
that's
to come
pretty
out
cool.
for years, but it's kind of a neat idea.
Yeah, I think this is fantastic. If it gets more people access to more video game content that didn't have access to it before, man, that's exciting. So yeah, I'm all on board.
It's also another way to remind people that it's a personal choice what difficulty someone plays a game at,
Oh my
and
goodness.
like how they want to play that game. So
Yep.
worry about how you play your own game, and let people decide to use a bot if that helps them fully enjoy their gameplay experience.
If it's not like a, unfair advantage in a multiplayer experience or something like that, if it's a single player experience and it just involves you, shut up.
And if you suck at PvP, your bot's gonna suck at PvP. But at least it keeps playing for you.
Nah, dude, okay. I would have a legitimate problem if they had like the bot in PvP though. Like for real, that's a no-go for me.
I'm undecided.
What? Come on.
Yeah.
Give me make me to give them full accessibility. Fine.
I know.
Okay. I concede, but maybe at least give people an option to join a bot.
Yes.
No,
absolutely.
But then you're not going to get anybody competitive that's really going to join that. So
that's also not full accessibility too.
Yes.
So
yes. Moving quickly along. This is kind of wild. Epic bought ArtStation. So if you don't know
among
Epic,
everything else.
Yeah, if you don't know Epic, they're they made Unreal, Fortnite. They have all the money at their own store. They famously combat Apple and Valve and other services to say, hey, we take a less of a cut. If you come here, you'll make more money if you host your game on our platform. This is not inherently a bad thing. This is a great thing. I personally think 12% is still way too much. Should be like 2%. 30 is insane to me. I can't even imagine giving 30. I mean, I guess you do. No, because they got to pay taxes on top of that. You got some asshole with a boot on your neck being like, yo, dude, give me 30% of that fucking sale. Fuck that, bro. I understand you're the platform holder, but fuck you, man. So when they're out here trying to be like, we're the good guys at 12%, okay, I get it. You have all the money in the world, bro. You don't
only
even
by
need
comparison.
It's ridiculous. That funding is not even necessary. They could, if they really mean what they say, if they really want to be this Robin Hood thing, fine. Make it like make it, do they, I'm sure they do. Is there like I know if you use Unreal Engine, and you
I'm
don't,
pretty sure it makes it free.
Up until what level? How much money?
I think it's free no matter what if it's on the Epic Store.
Okay. And then
otherwise it might be in the $1 million range.
What revenue do they start? Because I am fairly certain they don't take a cut until they break a certain amount. We should fact check that.
Have to check.
Yeah. But regardless, it doesn't really matter. We can get the details. It's still way too much. These are devs that, most of the time are not making a ton on these things, and more power to the devs, man, and more cash to the devs, and the platform holders are. Steam already has all the money, Valve already has all the money. They don't I don't know, man.
And that's the thing, is that I keep thinking back to, for me personally, and I don't want to excuse the revenue share because I don't agree with the high percentage, but I keep thinking about like, what does it cost to manage and operate those data centers? Because it's not just one data center; it's multiple globally. But still, like, we still are dealing with companies that are multi-million, if not multi-billion-dollar companies.
I guarantee you they write that off. Those are all CapEx expenditures. Those are all capital expenditures, and I guarantee that in 2016, Trump passed taxes that let companies write off capital expenditures basically across the board. I had personally worked on programs where we were doing $1 million installs of hardware, routers and switches and whatnot, everything that would get written off because it is a capital expenditure. So, no, it is not costing these companies bazillions of dollars. They're making, they're making jobs. They are buying that hardware and they are writing it off. This is why these companies don't pay taxes, because they are able to purchase all of this money and then say, well, here, we spent money here, so this can go to our contribution, right? That's the way it works, and they can afford it. Is all I'm saying. These are massively rich corporations. Give more to the devs.
On licensing for the publishing agreement, it's license is free to use and incurs 5% royalties when you monetize your game or other interactive off-the-shelf product. Your lifetime gross revenues from that product exceed $1 million.
Okay,
so it's lifetime gross. So that won't kick in until you make at least that much. But for creators, if you're not publishing it on a platform, it's free.
Okay. So anyway, with ArtStation, they are buying this and reducing the same fees. Sorry about my tangent for the Epic Store about video games. Totally not even what we were talking about. This is ArtStation. Cassette, why don't you fill us in on this?
ArtStation is, I'm sure that a lot of people have seen people's portfolios on ArtStation for all the art and video game assets that they make. It's also a marketplace for those assets. They also have a lot of learning tutorials, videos on different processes. For the entire rest of the year of 2021, part of the deal of this purchase is that all of their learning classes, as they're called, are going to be free for the rest of the year.
Awesome.
This is incredible because there's a wealth of information on this particular site, and I think that a lot of people, if any sort of digital art, if you've been interested in delving into these types of things and need somewhere to start, this is it. I signed up for my account while we were putting together the outline, and I checked it out, and yeah, I have access to everything for free. After 2021, you're still going to need to have the first tier of paid subscription, which is $7 a month. I don't want to immediately say that's accessible to everyone. Obviously, it's not. But for the wealth of information that they have on there, that is, I know that there are other online services for higher learning or for learning specialty techniques that are much more expensive.
Yes, I've subscribed to, Chris, I talked about this. I've subscribed to one that was a tech one. I'm an engineer, and I subscribed to one that was $80 a month for a time when I was trying to do specific learning. I needed to take like a 3-month course, and so I was basically, I paid for that, and that's how I paid for it. One was $50 a month. Another one, that one I did like a 6-month course, so it adds up. So $7 a month for these is pretty awesome. I truly feel this should be free regardless. If they're they're just getting more people to use their stuff. Get more people, give more young people access, more people in general, but especially the young people. Give, there are kids that can't afford this, man. Keep it free.
Mm-hmm.
If it, I think these type of things, accessibility for young people is so cool, because this type of thing didn't exist when I was young, and I wish it did, man. It's so sick that you can have these tools and have access to these things. Very cool. And they need to have as many people touching and making as many things as possible. Otherwise, we just get stagnant, boring things.
Yep.
And we need as many young brains as we can, and new minds and exciting things to see what they have to offer. Have them say, okay, use our engine for sure. Use your engine, get the revenue out of that. Get the if it sells on your platform, of course, take your share. Don't take 12%. If it's a student thing, they should be like even less. I don't even know, man. But they have all the money. They don't. It's just the support, man. Of course, I truly feel that this should all be like, education should be free, regardless from government subsidies and whatnot. But we're at the point now, this is extreme capitalism. You want to show how capitalism can do good? Okay, make education free for all these people, period. Just do it, period. If you really want to prove
in your minds.
Yeah.
This is wonderful though, in a way, because now depending on how you look at it, now Epic has along a pipeline. They have their Unreal Engine, they have Metahumans.
Metahumans
They
so cool,
have
man.
ArtStation. Like, you basically have an entire pipeline for getting all your assets, put them into your engine, and make your game. It's all like
Heck yeah.
unified. Sure, that could have problems down the line in terms of
Monopolization.
monopolies and stuff, but at least for the moment, hopefully, as we track things going along over the next several years, I mean, this is a boon for creators. Like, please, if you have any inclination to do so, utilize all these materials for yourself. And now people that are putting stuff in the marketplace, they're going to make more of a buck.
Yep.
And people need a buck right now. So
I also just wanted to highlight one of the artists that I follow. She posted tutorials of particular note. I've seen a few of these pop up. I'll keep an eye out and try to link them on my Twitter, or if I see them. But yeah, these are awesome. So we'll link this in the video description below.
Heck yeah.
This next story, it's a little complicated, but it's exciting, and we're interested to see what's happening with it. So let's take a trip back, like 2019. Harold Ryan, former Bungie CEO, has a new operation called Probably Monsters. And how did they describe it? Because do you recall? They're not like a straight publisher.
No, it's more of a group of studios that they're putting together under one kind of unified management.
Yeah. Okay. So starting this off, the first studio we are made aware of is Firewalk Studios, and now we know their first game officially is going to be a Sony exclusive AAA game. And Tony Shu posted this on the PlayStation blog. He is the studio head of Firewalk Studios. One of the studios that Cassette had mentioned was under Probably Monsters. So when they Harold Ryan poached a bunch of people, especially from Bungie, and Ryan Ellis was one of them. He was a creative director on Destiny. He is now the game director here. I know John Wisniewski from Bungie went there as well. He was the sandbox lead on Destiny 2, and I think maybe even Destiny 1. I think he was responsible for the Thorn changes in Destiny 1. I think he did a lot of things that people were questionable on, but, all in the name of balance, I suppose. But whatever, kind of took the fun out of a lot of things, in my personal opinion. Maybe the reason why I stopped playing some Destiny. Some movement speeds got nerfed. A lot of that stuff was the sandbox team, and, whatever. So anyway, he's now a principal game director over there. It's sick. He's probably on this game. Congratulations. So their potions, at the end of the day, though, they make great content, right? So they make games that are fun to shoot and fun to play. But they were talking about their team. Alena Sigmund is another one. Alena Sigmund, she was an executive producer on Guitar Hero at Harmonix, BioShock Infinite at Irrational, and on multiple Destiny releases as well. So they were just kind of showcasing what they have. We don't really know too much about this. This is really just an announcement of the IP. It's kind of an exciting news, because if you like the games that these people have made, if you like Bungie games, you're probably going to like what these guys are going to make. I'm very excited to see what they put together. They have insane funding. Harold Ryan raised like $18 million initially back in 2019, and then Sony got Sony to fund this game, right? So they are well funded. They probably have a killer team. They have an insanely talented team there. I'm sure they're going to make an awesome game. I'm very excited to see what they're going to bring out. I'm guessing it's going to be a shooter. It's probably going to be a AAA competitive shooter type thing, but it'll probably be
it's the right people for it. Destiny 2 was fun as hell. So
well, to an
Destiny
extent,
was fun as hell.
Destiny was fun as hell. They made some questionable changes in the name of balance. Let it be broken, guys. You nailed it. You nailed it when you let the things go fun. It was so fun when the things are broken. Dark Souls
I completely agree with you.
Dark Souls PvP is fun because it's broken. We don't need to have balance is boring. Not that's not true. Some people love balance. If you love Overwatch, if you love that type of thing, more power to you.
It's like appreciable OP yes. But yeah, so like this is only Firewalk Studios that has been announced so far, and there should be other studios, and I think that has been the implication, that there are other studios underneath Probably Monsters. So this could be a really exciting time for a new IP house, just like putting together a whole bunch of new exciting franchises for us to enjoy. Like I'm super into that. I would also, I'm always trying to find another multiplayer game that all of us and our buds can play again,
I
because
do
I
miss
miss
it.
having our
Yeah. I do definitely miss it. Shout out our ML Jesus buddies. Oh man,
praise be.
if you guys is listening, shout out you guys. So you guys playing
We love
Monster
you
Hunter?
guys.
You guys playing Monster Hunter?
Yeah,
Play Monster Hunter
join
with
us
us.
on Rise.
Join us. Play. Anyway, so this one's weird. This is kind of bittersweet. Kind of good for him. Congratulations, man. Yoshinori Ono is now the president and COO of Delightworks. Now, I don't really know Delightworks. I know they do some mobile. They have a mobile game that's very popular. I forget the name of what they mention it here. You could probably call it out for me. Fate Grand Order.
Yeah.
Yes.
One of their primary products is the Fate series.
Okay, I know nothing about that. I truly do not play any mobile
Very
games
little.
at all. Yeah.
It's kind of a visual novel series of some sort.
Oh, that's very interesting. Okay, so the one thing I do know about them is Melty Bloody. This is a fighting game. It's a visual novel fighting game.
There you go.
So you're saying Fate is similar. Okay, so they publish them. They don't develop Melty Bloody. They just publish it. Is this the console version only? Is that what this is? The new console version? What they're publishing?
They're saying PS4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch.
Okay, so it's probably the new version of Melty Blood. Then I'm very ignorant on it. Outside of I've seen it, on tournaments. I've just watched like anime people fighting. Yeah. Anyway, I just got to give a shout out. It's like bittersweet, man. Ono is awesome, man. He's kind of the reason why Street Fighter 4 is kind of existed. Street Fighter 3 was technically very cool, and people that really liked fighting games really liked it, but the mass and population, it was not a big critical success, and it almost killed the franchise. For a very long time, it was existing in tournaments only, and it was not very like widely popular. And he really championed bringing it back, and he was kind of the voice of Street Fighter, and he became the face of Street Fighter from 2009 when Street Fighter 4 launched. Man, he really championed it, and people question a lot of the decisions that were made on. He made some kind of, he produced some wacky games, and we had like a Street Fighter Cross Tekken and some bombs that just didn't pan out, and he was no longer on those projects. He had been far removed. He had nothing to do with Street Fighter 5. He had been removed off. We've seen it happen in many times. Same with Kojima, and to some extent, I think what's happening to Shuhei Yoshida, one of the coolest people around, man. I feel like they don't really fire you from what I understand. They don't necessarily fire you in Japanese business culture, but they will make it so you're not necessarily made to feel like welcome, or your position will not be the same. You may get demoted or whatever, so you'll still have a job, but because you're not a bad person necessarily. You're not fired, not disgraced, but you are taken, your projects are taken away, and it's not an enjoyable experience. So I'm sure the last year for Ono has been very, very hard, watching everything, whether you like him or not, whether you like the games that he made or the decisions that he made. I don't care. He's still a human being, and he's championed a lot of things that you probably like, and you should be thankful for him existing. And he's such a sweetheart, man. If you listen to him, he's the guy that does like, show her you can, and on all the pictures. He's just genuinely excited. He loves video games. He's just like a sweet guy, and you want people like him in positions that are choosing to delegate money, right? Mm-hmm. He's now in a position where he can say he's a very excited. He likes video games, right? And yeah, this may not be, I don't know anything about Delightworks, but people are necessarily worried about this publishing, right? I don't think you necessarily have to. If he just likes a project and supports it, I don't really know how hands-on. I doubt he's even going to get hands-on. All right, he's making the decisions. So if he puts the right people in place to execute correctly, that's really all that matters. This is great. This is outstanding. Congratulations, Ono. I'm so happy. I don't care what it is or where it is. It's super sick. That's a sick title. That's awesome. Congratulations, and I wish him the best. Moving on from Capcom to, this is the weirdest thing, man. I don't even know how to handle this. So it's like a rumor right now, but it's weird. Okay, let's take a recap. What does this say? Marvel fighting game possibly in development by Mortal Kombat's NetherRealm. So NRS, these are the guys that do the DC fighting game, right? They do Mortal Kombat. Now we know Marvel was historically very protective of their IP. We know Marvel vs. Capcom is one of the most fun games, period. We know Capcom did a really drop the ball job on Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. They had the gameplay, not bad, but there are small things that when you take a game with iconic characters, you can't mess up the way the characters look. I know it seems weird and it seems petty, but if you make them ugly, and if you don't have X-Men, bro, how you gonna make a Marvel game with no X-Men? you gotta have X-Men. So I don't know where the deal fell through or whatever happened. It doesn't matter. You still delivered and dropped the ball.
I would imagine that the X-Men property is in some sort of licensing hell at all times. I don't know if Fox has like a really strong arming it or something, but yeah,
make it happen.
These companies have money. Make it happen.
This is wild to me that NRS might be taking it, because as a person who likes fighting games and as a person who does not like NRS games, this is really sad. But at the same time, we also know that Disney is now interested in, getting their properties out there more. They want this. So this makes sense in that regard, because if you're talking about it from a purely cinematic experience, Mortal Kombat's super fun to play. Like the single player, just running through that story is over the top and wildly entertaining and fun. I like playing them immensely. I don't like playing the games. I don't like NetherRealm Studios way they do fighting games. I don't like Dial-A Combo. Not my thing, but I very much like it's very entertaining. They go full budge. Warner Brothers Studios, they give them the money. Ed Boon he's got that silver tongue. He makes fun game. He knows how to make a good atmosphere. It's just fun. Those are a fun ride if you like popcorn flicks. So I fully understand why Marvel or Disney execs would see that and go, "Wow, I want that.
Yeah,
I want that." So it may be a weird ass game, but for playing, if you're a fighting game fan, but if otherwise, it's probably going to be a fun ride. I'll probably watch it. If somebody wants to stream it, I'll probably watch them stream it. I'll probably watch Maximilian dude stream it or something. Somebody that I like watching it. It'd probably be fun to watch. My question is, do you think we could get Marvel versus DC?
Has there never been a Marvel versus DC type game?
I'm sure, but I just mean now on current licensing.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember seeing story stuff for Injustice 2 a while back, and I really need to try playing it sometime just because I want to experience that game. But I mean, it looked freaking great. I enjoyed the hell out of the story.
And visually insane. Yeah, beautiful games. Yes.
They would do some amazing stuff with some Marvel properties, so I'm excited to see what they do.
Yeah, Marvel characters so sick. Yeah, for sure. Okay. In good news, shifting gears to delightful news, in fact, it appears that our good, terrible friend, Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick is taking a 50% pay cut. And his base salary, target bonuses will be halved. Insane. Is he going to hire those people back that they just fired?
God, probably not, honestly.
I mean, great news. This makes you feel it just feels great. This is probably still even too much. Should be like a 90% pay cut. But
so it says that this equates to a reduction of $875,000, which really gives you a perspective on how much a chief officer's take-home pay is made up in bonuses.
Yes, it's all bonuses.
Yeah.
Yes. This is still ridiculous, but it's still, at the end of the day, the bonuses and the it's probably the stock as well, but yes, they're bonuses. We've discussed. Are we discussing the bonuses? Yes, we're discussing the bonuses next. So this is a perfect segue into this. This is how the majority of profit sharing works. But this is the reality, and take it away if you want.
Yeah. So in the simplest terms, I know for a lot of people, Cyberpunk 2077 was a fantastic experience. For a lot of people, it was a terrible experience. It doesn't have the greatest Metacritic score. Um, that doesn't mean it didn't sell well.
So this is what I asked Cassette to bring up the actual numbers because at the end of the day, it still made money. I couldn't remember how many millions it was off the top of my head. Turns out it was 8 million on PC still, 12 million total by the end of the year. So they still made a ton of money, even though it was pulled from the PlayStation and Xbox stores. I knew it was a lot on PC, but it seems people bought the copy on PC and either suffered through that terrible experience if your PC couldn't run it, or bugs aside, right? It just you either kept it or you dealt with the bugs, or you just decided not to return it. So,
or the classic experience, I didn't have any bugs, therefore everyone else is making shit up.
Good for you. I'm so that congratulations. You live in an awesome life.
So apparently, with the way that the bonus sharing works, or sorry, not bonus sharing, sorry, profit sharing bonus, employees receive a distribution from 20% of the profits made from the game. Management gets 10%. The rest of the workforce in the company gets 10%, is distributed or split around depending on position, etc. Some of the lowest people were getting something like $5,000 to $9,000 USD conversion. Some senior employees 15 to 20,000, whereas I think it was like an average of 34,000 each.
Yes, correct. I have it on screen.
Whereas the co-CEOs were getting a bonus of about 6.3 million USD each, despite the fact it's hard for me to organize my thoughts on something like this because it just illustrates to me how the people who were tasked with actually developing the game, doing the full ground level work on everything, the people who said time and time again, this game is not ready, we need to keep working on it, we need to take our time, versus management who were consistently trying to push through milestones and deliver a gold game that needed a ton of work post release. Just the disparity of bonus pay bothers me. And I know that this is something that is normal and expected in most businesses, not even just like software development or game development, but it's just staggering to see that disparity.
Yes,
especially on a title that has had so many problems like this one.
Working in the corporate world, I've been exposed to these very numbers. I'm very intimately aware of this exact experience. So this is well in line with what happened. At the end of the day, guys, it's still sold. That's all that matters. They have contracts that say X amount of dollars, I get X amount of dollars. That's just the way it works. So if you did not return your copy or you decided not to buy it, I truthfully didn't buy it. I had an order. I had a copy of the PlayStation 4 version ordered. I did not pick it up at Best Buy. I canceled it.
Thank goodness.
And I actually bought the PC version that day to test it out on my machine to see how it would run, and I refunded it. So, and truly, now I'm disenchanted with the title. I have no interest in playing it. Even if I get a new video card, I don't know if I'm going to be jumping in. Probably maybe just to experience the visual aspect of it, but maybe not for a while. After they do some patches or maybe after a DLC or something, I don't really know. But I'm not really that interested anymore. I've kind of been extremely disenchanted with it.
There was someone, I think, in Polygon that called it Dad Rock 80s Cyberpunk, and I need to visit that idea sometime, but it's just very, like, I love this type of world building for dystopian futures, but also at the same time, it is kind of a little overdone, it's a little old hat, and also the content of the game definitely shows its age in terms of its origins.
Bit edgelord just to be edgelord's sake, for edgelord's sake.
And there is a time that's something that I would like to discuss at some point.
Sure.
But that's going to need a whole write up. So one day maybe we'll have a special feature on this kind of thing.
I agree.
I have an interest in that in the future.
Okay, on the topic of platform holders taking percentages, Microsoft lowers its share of the Microsoft Store PC games to 12% to match what they're doing on the Epic Store.
Starting August 1st.
Yes, I still think it should be lower, but again, anything that gets more money to the devs, I'm happy with. So, good job.
Absolutely.
Step in the right direction. Let's make it more.
Honestly, Epic, thanks for actually setting this bar.
Yes, but that was their
goal.
To
see it continue.
Yeah, drive it down. Minimum wage up too, by the way.
Yes, please.
Wolfire Games files an antitrust lawsuit against Valve, also on this topic. And what's the synopsis from this one?
I honestly, I don't really care too much about what's going on with the lawsuit itself, but it's just another. Is Valve actually? I mean, that's the content of the suit, right? They'll determine whether or not Valve is Valve's activities are considered antitrust in their profit share. It is a huge platform, both in amount of titles and amount of users. The state of the industry is a set of statistics that just came out recently. There are a lot of stats involved that it reports on, and one of them is that has been of note is specifically about Valve's profit share, or maybe not specifically Valve, but the 30% mark, which has been industry standard until Epic stepped in with that. And
30%, let's back up. That is insane, guys. 30%. All these platform holders are taking 30% of your dollar away from the developers just to host and distribute their game. I understand that's a huge thing, right? Distribution. There is no dollar if you can't get it to the customer. I understand. We're eternally grateful and thankful for your services, but 30% is insane. Okay.
And only supported by about 3% of the respondents to this survey. Unfortunately, the other 97% don't really immediately have any sort of decision-making sway in terms of how Valve decided to go forward with their profit sharing. Honestly, in a way, they probably could actually partake in antitrust activity because they have the ability. Honestly, people are still going to put games on their platform. People are still going to buy games on their platform. There's no real reason for them to change this up yet, which is unfortunate and it sucks.
So once again, we're in favor of the developers. I completely agree with this survey. I'm not one of them, I'm not, but I'm adjacent and I understand. And you don't have to be. You don't have to be at all. You can just understand that if somebody says, "Yeah, I'll sell your food, but I'm going to take 30% of it, your profit." It's like, wait, what? Anything 30% is massive. More power to the developers, more money to the developers.
And there's also an interesting statistic on this survey that apparently PlayStation 5 is considered the most exciting platform to develop on for a lot of developers, whereas I seem to recall PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 3 were notorious for being difficult to develop for.
Well, those were they were RISC processors as well.
Right. So these are actually more PCs.
x86. It's all the same. Yeah. Yes, it's all the same.
Can you give a rundown for what x86 is?
Instructions. It's just how at the end of the day, it's just the way that the machine code is processed by the processor. It's just some of it is easier to write for, and without getting too technical into it, I don't want to bore people. It's just the way that the processor interacts with the user, and how it takes the information and process it. So writing for an x86 processor it's like x86 is like modern CPUs that you use in your PC. So
very unspecialized, right?
Correct. Any software that's written for that platform is universally will run on any of those platforms. So any Intel, AMD, these are all that instruction set. So they, Microsoft being a PC vendor, initially when they made the Xbox, that was kind of their big revolutionary thing, is they made their console have a standard CPU in it. And they allowing it to be x86 made it very easy to write for, because the PC devs that already knew how to write those games, their port was essentially already done for them. It was easy to write for it. So when you had different processors that were powerful in the PS3 but challenging to write software for, They migrated all that over. That's why all the consoles use the same CPUs. They just have different. They have different storage delivery. They have different allocation for hardware. You know, there are differences, but the main difference between the consoles is the games. If we're being completely honest, performance wise, they're awesome machines. They're it's whatever one has the games you want. That's a whole different topic. Actually, it's not. Speaking of the games you want, we got to give a little shout out at the end of this thing to our glorious Resident Evil 8. Speaking of Capcom, Capcom is near and dear to my heart. We know this. It's no mystery that I absolutely adore Resident Evil. It's one of my top 3 franchises. Souls, Metal Gear, Resident Evil, the best. And they just keep knocking it out of the park, man. Resident Evil 7 was a huge true to form, return to form, pardon, after the departure and the weirdness of 5 and then the utter travesty of 6. 5 is a fun game with a buddy, but it's weird as a Resident Evil game. It started with that trilogy with 4, and I truly feel 4 is amazing. 4 on VR, I'm probably going to end up getting an Oculus Quest just to play that stupid game in VR because it's going to be the best VR game ever made. RE7 in VR was wonderful. I haven't played Half-Life Alyx yet. I'm sure it's great, but it's RE4. How could it's a no-brainer. It's going to be amazing. But anyway, on the topic of the new one, Resident Evil Village, RE8, but they don't call it that. It's Village. We were able to have the final demo. This one was allowed on PC and Xbox as well as PlayStation. There was a 1 hour total. You had access to both demos, the Village demo and the Castle demo. Now, I had previously played Village from the week before. We discussed that. I did not get a chance to play Castle because Cassette and I were recording near last week, and I knew this was going to be coming in. So I was using this as a main opportunity to test and see if my machine could handle this on the PC, because as much as I have the PS5 and I have relegated that I've accepted the fact that I'm going to have to use PlayStation 5 versions of new games that are going to start coming out because my PC will simply not be able to run it. I would love to buy a video card. I cannot. Maybe we'll get a chance on a 3080 Ti when they launch. Who knows? Fingers crossed. Whenever I can get a video card, sure, I'll be back to playing PC games again. But as it is right now, I got a 1080 and it is on its struggling. And I still think that for the next, year or so, we're still going to be okay. But we saw with Cyberpunk that is not always the case. That is the first one, and it's just going to get, the Medium was another one that brought my system to its knees. So these games that are written for these new hardware delivery, it is not going to be as a smooth ride. But Resident Evil 8 is still a PS4 game, so I had hope. And if I'm completely honest, if I was going to play it on the PS5, I would not play it with ray tracing anyway because it's that weird, gross 45 FPS. I'm going to want 60 frames, so it's going to be 1080p because the PlayStation 5 does not do arbitrary resolutions. It does not support 1440p. It only supports 1080p and 4K, and I don't have a 4K display, so it's going to be displayed in 1080p. It's going to be muddy and gross, and I wanted to see hopefully my PC could run it, and sure as heck, it totally did. So heck yeah. I had to drop the shadows to medium, but I ran it at 1440p with my mouse sitting at over 60 frames. Once when we were inside the castle, we were hitting, 250 frames. It was kind of insane. And then when we were outside in the village, though, that's when I really was putting the stress test to it. I'm very excited, though. I'm so excited because I'm going to want to play through this a few times. I'm going to want to play through the hardcore mode, and just kind of really get into the game. And I'm not going to want to do that with the controller, bud. I just don't. I don't like playing shooters on the controller. If you're good with the controller, more power to you. I'm just not. I can deal with it for sure. I can do it, but I'm a mouse shooter, man. I like to point and click, and that's the way it is.
And RE7 played pretty well on keyboard and mouse, so I'm looking forward to being able to actually play Resident Evil 8 on, Village, with keyboard and mouse. But seeing the way that it performed on your computer, it actually gives me some hope.
I think so.
For myself. Doing, like I said before, I'm totally fine with using interlaced. It works with RE Engine so well.
Why don't you explain what that is and why that works that way?
With the way resolution works, your screen is divided up into pixels. You have a grid of just consider it a multiple horizontal lines of pixels, And what happens with interlace is instead of rendering every single row of pixels for each frame
As progressive
60
is.
times a minute. Was that?
As progressive
Yeah,
is.
thank you. That is what progressive is. Progressively laying out every single pixel for each frame. Interlaced only takes the odd and then the even frames, or odd and even rows frame by frame. So the first frame will be just odd rows, the second frame will be even rows, and then back to odd to even, etc. And over 60 hertz, so 60 times a second. That should be a nearly imperceptible effect of filling in the entire resolution using only half the visual information. I ran that on RE3 Remake PC, and it looked fantastic. Some of the post-processing effects did get a little weird comparatively, but honestly, I don't think it really broke the visuals whatsoever.
It still ran.
And it still ran, and it ran great. And I have a 1060 6 gig, which is past its lifetime. But
give
the
it a
fact
try.
that if I can run it scaled to 1080p, well, it would be 1080i. If I scale it on my 1440p monitor to 1080i, it should run perfectly fine. Maybe on middle quality. I find that more than acceptable. If it even just barely exceeds 60 frames per second, happy.
Yeah.
So I think I might get it. We'll see.
Cool. Yeah, exciting.
Yeah.
As far as the game itself, I'm mad invested. It's just great how they introduce new characters in their games, and it's no mystery that we've said it enough. I love the Bakers. I love Resident Evil 7.
Mhm.
It is fantastic. Marguerite Baker, Lucas Baker, they're just two of the greatest characters that Cassette and I both personally have a huge affinity for. So I'm just very excited to see we now have the proper pronunciation of Lady Dimitris.
Actually, apparently not. Apparently, that's just Ethan's voice actor, and they just
did it incorrectly.
So people on Twitter have been talking about this, and apparently, so it's a Romanian name.
Yes.
So now I know that properly. The way that people have been pronouncing it, the Dimitrescu that a lot of us assumed is supposed to be the correct Romanian pronunciation, but for whatever reason, it might be localization from Japanese.
I saw that, and they have this. They don't pronounce the U at the end, like amaterasu.
Yeah, usually the U is a very short, very quiet syllable. So yeah, amaterasu. Boku no namae wa whatever. That's it's not really enunciated as much as Dimitrescu.
Right.
So yeah.
The one thing that I will say that's not just Ethan's voice actor. I did see the tweet that said, I hope they at least are wrong inconsistently, so we don't have multiple pronunciations and different things. In the showcase they had recently, the presenter, she actually pronounced it Dimitris as well, and I was like, what? You didn't finish the whole name. So regardless, Lady D. What is her name? What is her first name? Lucina? No.
Oh, I don't remember. No, it's starts with an A.
Alcina Dimitris.
Yes, correct.
And I'm excited to see her. I'm excited to see the daughters. I'm very invested in the town. I still think it's a big front for some big umbrella facility underground or some crazy thing or whatever. Cassette, I think you're right on the money. You pointed out no accents, probably in America or American accents or however you want to describe their.
I'm convinced it's a cult colony.
Yes, or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But they're being manipulated on the outside by Umbrella for sure, outside forces. I do get there's an M. Night Shyamalan movie also called, I think it's called The Village or something of that nature.
Right, yeah.
Where it is a similar, I won't spoil it, but it has a twist where I remember I remember when the
rewatch that.
When the trailer first came out, I was like, ooh, this looks good, because that way at the time, like The Sixth Sense was actually like really good. This is before, and I actually liked Science as well. He had some misses, but he had some pretty good flicks. I want Science anyway, or not Science. Sixth Sense.
No.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I just said it. Yeah. Sixth Sense is awesome. That game spooked the hell out of me when I first saw it, man. I remember I was going to college and I walked to a viewing hall where they had it, and they had like a movie, they kind of played it, and it was like 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. and all the lights were off, maybe 9, I don't remember. I was walking home by myself and it was super spooky, and then like I got into my dorm and my roommate was already like asleep, and I vividly remember crawling into bed, laying down, and my eyes just like wide open. Like I could not go to sleep. That game, that movie spooked me out when it first came out for sure. I really enjoyed that one. So I was kind of, anyway, with the village, it was like a similar situation, but they had the kind of old timey look and 1800s kind of, or 1700s kind of look. So what's your take on the current village?
Right now, they've shown in the demo a lot of the features and functions that they talked about in the showcases. I have some ideas about like story progression and area progression. I'm guessing that either we see parts of the castle very early on, or it ends up being like the end area. So I keep thinking back to Resident Evil 4 for some reason, the way that was laid out. Yeah, I honestly just want to get hunted down. That's all I want.
Sorry for the cut in. We got a brief spoiler warning. I wanted to talk about the demo, but just in case you don't want to know what's in the demo, don't listen. Later. They've told us told us in the demo that there were 4 areas, right? That they had the graves of the wives.
Oh, I missed that part. I know that there's that old refinery or factory or something that must be where Heisenberg is.
Yeah, I don't recall what they were, but I only had a very brief amount of time with the demo, but yeah, there were multiple areas, and they had mentioned something along the lines of in one of the books that I tried to read all the books that were there too, and in regards to it, I'm fairly certain they said something along the lines of there were 4, I want to say 4 or even 5 different areas of the vicinity. One of them was the village, one of them was the castle, and they all had like significance. So you had they seemed like levels. My only concern though is like Resident Evil 3, that when you saw the demo, you're like, this is so sick. We're going to be outside in the village or outside in the city, getting more context about what happened, during the night of the events of Raccoon City, and we didn't. Everything that was in the demo was the extent of the street. So I'm kind of nervous that we've seen the whole village, and we've maybe the beginning, because when you first go through it, there is more to it. But I don't know. Hopefully, we've just seen like a couple small rooms, and there's more to it than just that. So.
Yeah, there is that whole gate opening section there, so that could just be the very, very start of the actual village.
Yes, portion. I think it is.
Yeah. Okay.
But they did shift around the inside of the castle. It was not the same as it was when I was there before. On the very first demo where you could walk through with nothing. It's funny. I was trying to go in blind on this, but I've highly enjoyed being informed of all of this new content and the changes as they come along. I feel like I'm intimately kind of familiar with that underground cellar area. When we the shooting felt so good with my mouse. I'm so glad I can play it on my PC, man. I'm so stinking excited that I don't gotta play with this stupid controller, man. This felt so good. I don't know if you noticed, I didn't miss a single freaking shot on those dudes. If you were watching, it felt so stinking good. Shooting felt good. Reloads felt good. Shotgun felt good. Grenade felt good. Bam, that game is going to be so stinking fun. I'm so pumped to play it. Tune in, Sun vs. the Moon, twitchtv.com.
It's going to be a wild time.
Yeah, guys. Anyway, I'm excited. I love Resident Evil. I'm pumped. I hope they give us a good story. Chris's redesign is fan-freaking-tastic. I still don't like. I hope Ethan got a redesign, because Ethan, that was one thing I didn't like, his look. The white blonde kid. Everyman kind of business guy with the white collared shirt and the slacks, and it was just so generic, man. I don't know. Not a fan.
Average Seattle dude.
I know, it's so weird, but I understand that it's first person, so not that big of a deal. But it'd be cool to have like a more. I mean, the Resident Evil protagonists are awesome. Look at all of them; they're great. Jill, Claire, Leon, Chris, they're fantastic. So how can you even compare Ethan? Ethan more remotely looks like a Silent Hill character, if I'm honest.
Yeah,
He would fit that kind of.
I don't disagree. I
Yeah.
don't disagree.
He's not like an anime protag. Our RE characters are like anime protags, you know?
Yeah.
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 If
Whereas
you feel me, yeah.
Silent Hill protags are
Real
much
people.
more like real people, or just like really depressing literature characters.
Sure, but I mean they're more accessible as humans.
Yeah.
Not anime
Yeah,
protags.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, but on the other hand, I love Ethan's story. I love the characters in his games. Mia is awesome. I'm very excited to see the Rose, the baby, and to see what kind of she has any powers. You know, we know Ethan's got the muck, so they all got that the fanciness. It's exciting. I'm very excited to see what they're gonna do, and we get new powers. We get wolves. Oh boy, when I was actually worried and nervous about fighting the wolf boys with the controller, but it felt so good fighting them with the mouse. I'm just so stoked to play it. I did the village one on hardcore just to see how long it would take to kill that first beast guy, and it was no joke. Because I knew where they were coming from, so I put down the landmine and I was prepared to hit the flower trap, and it took the shotgun blast and then hit the landmine, and then that killed him, and then I just ran past him. I didn't even try to bother with anything else. I think that's kind of how we're gonna have to play it. But I'm excited. Tune in. We're probably going to be playing it straight through. My second vaccine shot is on the 14th, which is the weekend after the following weekend when I would normally be streaming. So I would normally stream Saturday, Sunday, Monday, but I'll probably be doing Resident Evil straight through until I finish it. And then Cassette and I'll just swap days, and then I'll get my vaccine shot on Friday, and I'm probably going to be peacing out for a couple days. So
very understandable.
Yeah. So anyway, thanks for tuning in, everybody. I'm very excited for Resident Evil. This is exciting times. After that, we've got Final Fantasy VII Intergrade coming.
Right.
Excuse me.
Yuffie!
We're still recording our Nier playthrough. It'll just be a more long-term project for us.
Yeah. It's kind of a collection of our thoughts and experiences in a time capsule, so to speak. It'll be really cool.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Thanks a lot for joining us, Cassette. As always, thanks for hanging out, bud. I always appreciate your company. And,
thank you, son. Appreciate your company, man.
Catch you guys around.
Make sure to jump on the link tree, linktr.ee/Budsday today. Follow us, join our Discord. We'd love to hear from you guys, and hopefully we can keep bringing you some great talks.
For the foreseeable future, we're going to be playing Monster Hunter Rise on our Budsday streams. We may shift the day around, but as of right now, we're still doing Tuesdays. So if you want to come in and hunt with us, please come in to either one of our streams on Tuesday at 7 p.m. Pacific time, and come hang and hunt some monsters with us. I'm Hunter rank 40 right now. I'm about to go fight Teostra. Actually, I'm very excited. I'm going to do that tonight probably. It's midnight. Maybe not. Maybe I'll save it for tomorrow. But I'm ready to go. I'm working on my builds. Hunting Horn main, learning Sword and Shield right now. It's amazing. So yeah, heck yeah. Shout out to the buds. Let's play. Catch you guys later. Peace. Cheers.
Thanks again, everybody.
Later.